All right, everybody. I'm going to demonstrate how to make a homemade mask. There are a couple different ways to do it. You can go on the internet and look up homemade masks, and they're all pretty simple. I'm going to show you one way right now. I want to talk real quickly about the importance of masks, the real value in the mask. This is not the same kind of mask as an N95 mask. It is not designed to protect people from close contact and from viral infections in close contact. It doesn't have the filtering ability of an N95 mask, but it does have some filtering ability. And so the message that we want to get across to people is whether you're wearing a mask or not, you need to maintain the social spacing that everybody's talked about. Because you put on a cloth mask doesn't mean you can walk down the street arm in arm and shoulder to shoulder with people and talk as if nothing was wrong. Even with these cloth masks, you need to continue to maintain the physical distance that people have been asked to maintain, which is 6 feet. The purpose of the cloth mask is really to focus on slowing the spread of this disease. We know that many people appear to be asymptomatic, are not showing signs of the disease, and yet they begin shedding viruses before they start showing these signs. And the primary way they shed the viruses is coughing, sneezing, and actually, frankly, simply exhaling. And so every time you let a breath out, if you're infected, there are viruses that are getting put into the environment. So think about all the places where you see people walking, and whether it's next to produce or next to cans that people are picking off the shelves, there's a potential that viruses could be spread that way. And since we don't know who's actually carrying the virus, we have to approach this as if everybody's a potential carrier. And if we treat everybody as a potential carrier, and you put a mask in front of your face, that mask is going to catch a lot of the stuff, even if you cough or sneeze, that comes out of your mouth and nose, and certainly going to catch a lot of what comes out of your mouth. It will reduce the amount of spread of the virus that's possible. Again, we're not saying everybody is spreading it, but we don't know who's spreading it. And so by wearing a mask, you make me safer, and if I wear a mask, I make you safer. And that's the message we want to get across. It's not a panacea. It's not an N95 mask. It's not what you wear in a medical situation. But for day-to-day purposes, going into a store, this will help protect you. It'll help protect the people who may be shopping around you and after you. And it's a good thing, and it's the right thing to do. So our guidance in the county is to wear masks when you're in stores and public places. So I'm going to show you how to go out and make this pretty simple mask. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a band across my t-shirt from one end to the other. And the band is going to be about the length of my palm, from my wrist up to the tip of my big finger. And that's because, as you can see, if I put my hand over my face, that distance covers from my nose above my nostrils, and my wrist would be underneath my chin. And what I want at the end of this is a mask that goes across my face and covers my nose and also covers underneath my chin, because it's going to help create a better seal. And you'll see this when this is done. So I'm going to put my hand down on this. I'm going to identify that I want to be about this high up, and I'm going to start cutting. Remind me to have better scissors. All right, so now I've cut the beginning of my mask. Obviously, I can't attach it the way it is right now, but now I'm going to show you what to do next. So having cut it this long, I need a mask that's at least 3 palms wide, not tightly together, but kind of loosely spread. So there's one palm, there's a second palm, and there's a third palm. And since it's only a little bit longer, it's just going to give me a longer tab. So I'm just going to use the whole length of this. And I'm going to cut one end of this. So now I'm going to have a mask that's open. Okay. So I'm just now finishing the cut I apologize for not having proper fabric scissors, but these are just going to have to do in a pinch. So now I've got a piece of cloth that is very long, like this, and goes around my head, which is basically what I wanted to do. Now the next thing I'm going to do is that this should measure out to something like 7 palms if I'm right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's about 7. So I got about a 7 palm length here. I'm pretty good. I'm going to fold this thing back over again because I don't want to have to cut things twice if I don't have to. And my goal is going to be to leave a space in the middle that's a little bit more than 2 palms wide. So here's 1 palm, there's a 2nd palm, and what I'm going to do is be cutting from this end toward here, this end toward here. I'm going to leave about an inch strip at the top. I'm going to leave about an inch at the bottom, so you can watch what I do. I'll start on this side. Again, apologizing for my lack of proper fabric scissors, but they work. So I'm going to cut. Now I'm going to go up to the top side. Make sure I line up my fabric correctly. You guys can see how often I do this. But fortunately this piece is not rocket science. All right, I've got these lined up so that I've got roughly the same distance on both sides. And I'm going to start cutting here. Again, I'm going to go down about maybe an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to cut across the fabric. And I'm going to end up at the same place that the other one ended up. All right. So now I've got what are going to be 4 straps. Here and here. And I'm going to cut across this way to take this center section out because I don't need it. So I'm just going to cut straight up this way. And I'm at the end. Now this is cut free, and voila, I have the beginning of a mask. And I'm still wider than I need to be. As you can see, this will go around my head and still go to the back of my head. So I'm going to cut another section out, and I'm going to cut another probably palm out, probably 1.5 palms out on each side until I get something that's down to covering my face. Lining up the other side. Cutting to about the same place. I've got this flap here. I'm going to cut the flap off. Okay, now I've got the essence of a very large mask. So now I'm going to put on my mask. And I put it in front of my face, over the bridge of my nose, behind my ears, under my ears actually. And I'm going to tie it behind the back of my head. And so all these hard tying things and you can't see what you're doing. Okay, that's the top string. That's tied, and then I take the bottom 2 strings and I pull them up over my head. And I'm going to tie them together. I could make a bow, but I'm not. And I pull them together like that. And ta-da! So I'm covered underneath, I'm covered on the sides, and it's across the bridge of my nose. So when you undo this mask, you're going to untie it from the top, and then you're going to untie it from the back. I'm not going to put it on the surface because I don't want to put anything that might be on the front of the mask on the surface. I'm going to hold the mask like this. I'm going to get a plastic bag or paper bag, and I'm going to put this into the bag. Or if I feel like it, I'm going to go up to the washing machine and put this mask into a washing machine, or get a bucket of hot soapy water and put the mask into a bucket of hot soapy water when I get home and I'm finished using it. And when I'm finished using it and I've got it in that hot soapy water, that will help clean the mask. But the water needs to be hot and it needs to be soapy. So that's my final thing. Wearing the mask is great protection, but you want to make sure that if there's anything on the mask that you don't come in contact with it. So you're not going to put it on your table. You're not going to put it on your kitchen counter. You're not going to put it on the sink in the bathroom. You're going to put it in a bag, and then you're going to wash it. And when you dump it out of the bag, don't put your hands on it either. And anytime you finish handling it, wash your hands in soap and water anyway. So that's my guidance to you. I hope people will do this. I'm serious what I said about not going into stores without masks. And if you're an employee in the store, if your employer's not giving you something, take a few minutes at home, put this together. You'll be safer, and the people around you will be safer. And if we all make each other safer, the earlier this is going to end. We are the only thing right now that can stop the spread of this virus. I've said this repeatedly. There's no drug yet, and there's certainly no vaccine. It's only us. And we're the ones who determine how fast this virus gets spread and how much of it gets spread. So please act responsibly, take care of you, and take care of your neighbors. Thank you.